Hi, my name is Justice Fierro. This is my final discussion post, and my discussion post is on the 2019 Samoa measles epidemic. I wanted to just pick a disease, an epidemic that is very recent and yet not in a first world country, something that was a third world country, to see how others deal with epidemics, especially because we are living in one currently. The 2019 Samoa measles epidemic. Although it is thought that the measles reached Samoa in late 2019 from New Zealand, where a recent bout of measles had emerged, and with Samoans having moved to New Zealand in recent years, the actual reason that this very preventable disease became an epidemic is due to the misinformation on vaccines. The vaccine misinformation campaign. In the summer of 2018, two nurses administered the MMR vaccine to two infants. Both infants died within hours of receiving the vaccine. It was not until months of investigation and a large vocal vaccine misinformation campaign that completely ruined the trust of health officials was found that it was not the vaccine that killed the infants, but a lethal dose of muscle relaxers that the nurses had given them that had caused their death. This misinformation campaign was not only in Samoa, but also in Europe and in America. Vaccine mistrust. However, by the time that this information had reached the public, few cared to listen to the truth, and instead, distrust in vaccines grew. The best way to prevent a measles outbreak is to have a community that is anywhere between 92 and 95% vaccinated. Before the death of the two infants in the summer of 2018, about 70% were vaccinated. However, after the deaths of the two infants, and by the beginning of the epidemic, only about 30% were vaccinated. The response. In November of 2019, the Samoan government declared that their measles epidemic was a national emergency. It was mandated that all 200,000 people inhabiting the island would be vaccinated, that if they were any who were sick or who had been in contact with those who were sick, would be quarantined. Public gathering places, especially those where children gathered, such as schools, were closed. Families were also instructed to hang red flags, such as this in the photo, to inform those that they were not vaccinated and they needed to be vaccinated. The Samoan government received help from the UN, WHO, and even countries such as the United Kingdom to perform vaccinations that they needed. It is said that they used vans to go house to house to make sure that everyone was vaccinated. In the end, the Samoan measles epidemic had thousands of people who got the measles and about 50 people who died from it. The Samoan measles epidemic has been a lesson for the health community, not on the measles itself, but on how misinformation can physically harm a community, but also on how to respond to such crises as this. How the measles are described, prevented, and treated never changed throughout this epidemic. We've always known that vaccinations were what were needed to help prevent the measles, and how to cure and treat the measles was something that was performed the same as it has always been performed. However, doctors and health professionals everywhere became aware how allowing misinformation to grow can cause distrust to grow in the health communities. In the case of the 2019 measles epidemic, misinformation about vaccine was as much as a killer as the measles were. The measles epidemic was also a lesson to the Samoan government on how to react to the coronavirus. They were one of the first countries to have lockdowns and quarantines when the coronavirus came out, and since May have had very little coronavirus cases. The Samoa measles epidemic brings to question on vaccines, on whether preventing versus treatment is better